Maybe after 6 years, I'll get it right.
Figure it out.
Roll call, please.
Troy Carr,
Here.
Jamie Clapham. Here. Katie Urban. Here. Donna Moore.
Here.
Walt Swan.
Here.
Angela Rafferty.
Here.
Christine Stephenson.
Here.
Marissa Bonas.
Here.
Elena Braun.
Here.
All right, I'd ask everyone to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we have no one to do the invocation, so I'll ask for a motion to approve the proposed agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Either way.
It's been moved and seconded by the same two people.
So, flip a coin.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Motion carries. All right, sharing the success.
Okay, our students were not able to be here tonight, so we are going to recognize the winners of the writing contest at a later meeting. Okay. However, we do have several school counselors with us here today, and I would like to recognize them for all the hard work that they do across the district. I will start by reading an executive proclamation by Governor Roden declaring this school counseling week. And then we will honor each one of them from across the district. So first, the official proclamation. Whereas school counselors are employed in schools to help students cultivate academic and personal excellence, and whereas school counselors are deeply invested in helping students discover their abilities, strengths, interests, and talents, as these traits relate to career awareness and development. And whereas school counselors partner with families to further the educational and personal growth of their children. And whereas school counselors collaborate with teachers and other educators to help students realize their potential and establish attainable and measurable goals for themselves. And whereas school counselors recognize and implement community resources that can strengthen and support comprehensive school counseling programs to assist students in becoming productive members of society. And whereas comprehensive school counseling programs are considered an integral part of the educational process that empowers students to achieve success in school. Now, therefore, I, Larry Roden, now Governor of the State of South Dakota, do hereby proclaim February 2nd, 2026 as School Counseling Week in South Dakota. I am going to read the names of our counselors across the district, and when I read your name, if you would come up and stand up here, because I'm sure there may be a couple of board members that want to say a thing or two, and that Bobby will want to take a picture. So Starting with our elementary counselors, we have Paxton Klug at Blackhawk, Caleb Chapman at Corral Drive, Kathy Harn at General Beetle, Stephanie Mock at Grandview, Jamie Schumer at Horace Mann, Claire Nordine at Knollwood, Joy Courier at Knollwood, Carrie Clark at Meadowbrook, Teresa Dare at Meadowbrook, Kimberly Ening at Pinedale, Teresa Jones at Rapid Valley, Kaylin Hadley at Robbinsdale, Julie Nelson at South Canyon, Alex Grieve at South Park, Shelley Mitchell at Valley View, and Brittany Henry James at Wilson. And at the secondary level, we have Phoenix Cole at East, Franny Myers at North, Jay Nelson at North, Jerry Johnson at RCAA Middle School, Aaron Junt at South, Tracy Caldwell Southwest, Bryn Dreyer at West, Katie Baskerville at Central, Anthony Raphorst at Central, Bill Chase at Central, Jessica Jessup at Central, Elizabeth Russ at Central, Heather Meyer at RCAA High School, Blake Addison at Stevens, Sonia Gabb at Stevens, Tracy Friedel at Stevens, and Anna Widener at Stevens. And together so far this school year, these counselors have logged probably more than this now, but at the time I was given this, 39,287 contact hours with students and or families. So that's a lot of time.
All right, board members, Mrs. Rafferty.
I just want to thank all of you for all your hard work. I know what you guys do every day. I could not have done my job in kindergarten if it wasn't for my counselors in my building. You guys are so knowledgeable, and I really appreciated all the help I got when I was teaching. Thank you.
Ms. Clapham.
Summer Summits, thank you. You guys have a really hard job. You have a lot of students, a lot of caseload, and I just know, I know several people on this list personally. I have had interactions with my own kids, and I always say when I sit in this chair, like, what would I want for my kids? My own kids is what I want for all 12,000 kids. And you guys do that every day, and I'm so grateful for it. And I wish we could multiply you. Like, if you could find a way to clone yourselves, that'd be great. We would love to have more of you, and just so you have our support, and we know that you are working as hard as you can with resources you have, and that in itself is a magician's act. So thank you.
All right, Mr. Swan.
I just want to say thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. Counseling is a very tough position. My mother was a counselor here at North as well, and I understand. I know there were days when she came home very, very tired, and I just wanted to say thank you very much. If I didn't have a mom as a counselor, I don't think I would have made it through high school. So I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Mrs. Urban.
Same thing. I won't repeat everybody else, but you wear a lot of hats. And so I'm sure that is a big job. I'm really excited about the stuff happening at Wilson, Miss James. It's so exciting. But thank you for all you do, and know that you're appreciated.
All right. I too want to give my thanks to you that are here and those counselors that will hear me later. I always want you to know that I appreciate that you have a job that you don't just leave at the building when you walk out the building. You take the stories and the students long after you have left, and that sometimes can be a heavy burden. So I ask that you make sure that you're doing self-care and taking care of yourself and rejuvenating and whatever you need to do to power back up and head back in there the next day. So thank you, and I appreciate you. All right, that's it. All right, they deserve another. Now. All right.
I'm gonna jump in on the other side.
Yeah, just go up this high side. Thank you.
And then Kit is going to follow that up with a little something extra.
Good evening, board. I'm very honored to present our next sharing of success. If I could ask Mr. Wilson or Mr. Cheney, who is the principal at Wilson. to come on up, and then as well as Brittany Henry James. And I'm going to present our next sharing of the success. Rapid City Area Schools proudly recognizes Brittany Henry James for earning her National Certified Counselor credential, or her NCC, the premier national certification in the counseling profession. Achieving national board certification demonstrates a voluntary commitment to the highest national standards of the counseling practice. To earn the NCC credential, Brittany completed a graduate degree from an accredited counseling program, met rigorous work experience and supervision requirements, passed a comprehensive national examination, and committed to the profession's highest ethical and professional standards. This accomplishment reflects Brittany's dedication to excellence and her ongoing commitment to supporting student success. We are grateful for her expertise, professionalism, and care that she brings to our school community each day, and congratulate her on this outstanding achievement. Congratulations, Brittany.
All right, Ms. Stephenson.
Thanks, Brittany, you should just stay up. You're gonna need your picture taken. Oh, so board, I have the privilege of working or interacting with Brittany Henry James many times. I can tell you, I know that there are many counselors in this district. I held back to recognize all of you because I know that there's incredible work going on across the district, and we don't have enough of you. And so I'm super appreciative, and thank you, Dr. Thompson, for reading the names, because I think that was significant. But Mrs. James, in particular, has shown, because I interact with you on a more regular basis, just such kindness and compassion to the kids at Wilson, and frankly across this district, because it feels like when I see something has happened, I often see your name attached to a communication. I'm so appreciative and thankful that you're in our district. And I have to tell you all, you have been recognized at this dais before for Morning Nest, but you haven't been there. So you all have heard about Morning Nest. It's at Wilson on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Kids can come in and get their face washed, their teeth brushed, their hair done. And I've been able to go there a couple times, and it's a zoo. It's so fun. There's so much energy, and there's all the kids. Like these kids are so excited. And somewhere in that mix, there's a kid who really needed their face washed or their teeth brushed. And somewhere in that mix, there's like my kid who just crawled out of bed and just wants her hair combed because she wants to. It's wonderful. And it goes beyond helping the kids who really need some extra care to just making kids excited to go to school. You know, it's just and all of the kids, it's non-discriminatory. I just think it's a very cool program. Just appreciate the extra work you put into it, and yeah, appreciate you. Thanks.
All right, Mrs. Clapham.
I will breathe and say, I just so appreciate the example of excellence that you provide, because you didn't have to go do your master's while you were working. You didn't have to do this. You chose to do this to better yourself. And what an incredible leadership and example to our kids, to our other staff, to say, I just want to be great because I want to be the best I can. And that is just something to emulate, and is so impressive, and such an incredible personal trait to have. So thank you for making that investment and just choosing to be great, because it's a good thing to do. Thank you.
All right, anyone else? All right, well, thank you and congratulations again. It's your time. All right, at this time, we have no open forum requests, which means we don't have any board response to open forum. This time we have our student reports. Up first is Ms. Braun Stevens.
All right, good evening, board. board, it's been a sec since I've seen you, so this is gonna be a slightly long one. So Stevens has been busy these past few weeks. First, the Student Leadership Advisory Council has been looking at several ways to improve crowd control at games at Stevens. Stevens students, parents, and players and teachers have all expressed discomfort and disappointment with how Stevens students have been acting at games. To change this, we came up with several ways for students to express their disappointment at calls and have asked the cheerleaders to do more cheers to engage the students. These techniques were used at the Stevens versus Central rivalry game and helped to redirect the students' attention. Speaking of the Central rivalry, both the Stevens boys and girls were victorious again, with the boys pulling off a thriller thanks to the late game heroics of junior Anders Christensen. Due to inclement weather across the state, the rivalry game was moved up a weekend, and the Pep Assembly and Spirit Week at Stevens had to be moved to February 19th, where we will recognize our basketball teams and the 9 senior boys participating in our annual men's pageant, Mr. SHS. More information on that coming later. And Mr. SHS is a fundraiser for Children's Miracle Network. And so a climate and culture survey was also conducted at Stevens and revealed that students enjoy pep assemblies and spirit weeks. So we are looking forward to putting on that spirit week as well as several more before the end of the year to keep kids wanting to come to school. And some other events at Stevens include the Ronald McDonald Foundation Pop Tab fundraiser, where students are donating their pop tabs to help Ronald McDonald House of Rapid City. I personally would like kids to donate them to my calculus class so we can have a pizza party in there one day and I don't have to do integration. And the Stevens Drama Department put on Nights of One Acts yesterday before they go to state tomorrow at Brandon Valley. They put on Between the Lines and The Importance of Being Earnest, and I went and they were both incredible. They were so good. And the Student School Board is hosting the 3rd annual art auction to help relieve lunch debt in Rapid City. And Stevens student Saco Tennant helped to organize an art competition for the Rapid City Airport. The theme of the contest is America 250, Tell Your Story of the Black Hills, and the top 6 artworks will be displayed at the Rapid City Airport. And National Honor Society is meeting this Friday to make gratitude baskets for nurses and health professionals in Rapid City. They work every day to save lives, and NHS wants to give back. Additionally, the Stevens Raiders speech and debate team has been very successful this year. Captain Mason Schumacher reported that the team has large prospects like Ali Nielsen, Mohammed Shahid, and Hendrix Jones this year. Our debate team has been very successful at recent tournaments, with Rhett Miller and Mason Schumacher placing first in Congress, Hendrix Jones placing first in humor, and Mohammed Shahid placing first in novice Lincoln Douglas. And this year also brings a slight change to Testapalooza, the colloquial name for the day all Stevens students take the pre-ACT or the ACT and previously the NCRC. This year, the seniors are not required to take that, and instead, Stevens will be hosting the inaugural Stevens Senior Service Day, where seniors will participate in service projects in and around the school. I personally have signed up to make tie blankets and write cards to first responders, but students can work with Black Hills Works, make jog treats, redo our wall, honoring veterans, and much, much more. I have a t-shirt. So that is what all Stevens students will be getting. We stole the design from Yale. Don't tell them, it's fine. And then my staff spotlight for this week is Jenna Gabb. Ms. Gabb is a paraprofessional at Stevens, and she graduated from Stevens and is currently attending Dakota State University online, and she is studying special education and elementary education. Ms. Gabb has worked at Stevens for 3 years, and she loves being a paraprofessional because she gets to see her students grow not only academically, but also as a person. When Ms. Gabb is not working, she is usually traveling or spending time with friends. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good report. Mrs. Clapham.
What day is the Senior Service Day in Testapalooza?
March 4th.
March 4th. And I was just also gonna say, I think it's wonderful that the staff spotlight was a non-teacher. I think so many times, you know, we love our teachers. We love our teachers, don't get me wrong, but it takes so many people to run the building. So I'm impressed that you guys recognized someone kind of outside the box. So thanks for doing that.
All right. Any other questions, comments? All right, thank you, Ms. Braun. At this time, I have Ms. Vaness from Central.
So over the last semester, the Constitution and Bylaws Committee worked very diligently to create our school's first ever official student council constitution and formalize the election process. Both of those items were successfully voted into place this past week. Alongside the introduction of parliamentary procedure this year in our meetings, these accomplishments are already making the student council a more efficient and accessible space. Looking ahead, some of their upcoming projects and events, the Community Relations Committee is creating Valentine's Day care baskets for the Middle Senior Center this week. And in addition to that, the Events Committee is planning a cultural night to be hosted in March, where families across the community can come together to celebrate and share their respective cultures. More details about that event will be shared soon as I get them. Also, in discussion of student celebration, Central recently participated in the Jostens National Renaissance January Culture Challenge, where teachers were invited to nominate students who truly exemplified one of the school's core values: trust, compassion, stability, or hope. In doing so, Central was nationally recognized and received a $500 award to continue supporting our own Renaissance team, which plays a key role in fostering a more positive school environment. As greatly anticipated by students and staff alike, the ribbon cutting ceremony for our school's new and improved library took place on January 20th, and it is now open throughout the day. As a student, I can say it was well worth the wait, as the clean, updated environment has already made for an incredible daily study space. And then last year, Central hosted its first ever Bring a Parent to School Day, which was a great success. Families were able to tour the school and experience aspects of daily academic life alongside their students. So essentially parent-teacher conferences, but a lot less pressure. And then this year, we are so excited to bring that event back, and it will take place February 20th from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central has also now officially announced the date for their Senior Service Day this spring in place of the NCRC, which again will take place March 4th. Seniors will have the opportunity to volunteer alongside their peers in a wide range of areas where hopefully every student can find something that will be personally meaningful to them. So these include assistance with childcare, construction, pet support, athletics setup, and many more opportunities. As for current activities, much is happening this week. Tonight is the final showing of our one-act plays as well before they head off for state at Brandon Valley. The student-directed show is titled Attack of the Pom-Pom Zombies, which I think we all can agree is one of the most memorable titles in a while. And the state show is titled Toy Box, written entirely by the cast and theater directors Mr. Speck and Mr. Lore. JV boys and varsity girls and boys wrestling compete against Stevens this Thursday, and our speech and debate team is hosting its Cobbler Classic tournament at the school this Friday and Saturday. Finally, all basketball teams will face off in home games against Brandon Valley this Friday, February 6th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Another great report. Board members, any questions or comments from Ms. Bonnes? All right, thank you. This time, Dr. Thompson and our superintendent report.
Thank you. I have been working on a presentation to be utilized across the community that combines my findings for my first 100 days with our strategic plan and then segues into our potential bond. I am not going to go through the first few slides tonight because essentially I went through that last time. That's the findings from my superintendent entry plan. Instead, what I want to spend my time on tonight is focusing on how the opportunities for growth that I identified within those 100 days fit within our strategic plan. Our student pillar focuses on welcoming and acknowledging all students for their value as individuals in a safe environment where they are educated and prepared with the skills necessary to be successful in school and life. Our staff pillar focuses on attracting, recruiting, and retaining a diverse, high-quality staff who are respected and empowered to educate our students. Our community pillar focuses on building collaborative relationships within the community to support and improve the students' educational experience. Our facilities pillar focuses on ensuring safe, modern, effective learning environments by building, improving, and maintaining our facilities so that they meet the changing needs of our students. And our communications pillar focuses on communicating clearly and consistently with all staff, families, students, and the community. Our administration and board members work together to identify annual goals and corresponding short-term 45-day action steps that we believe are necessary for us to meet these goals. We identified 3 goals related to attendance for the 25-26 school year. The first is to increase attendance from 81% to 83% through our attendance campaign, regular building meetings that focus on improving attendance for specific students who are struggling to make it to school regularly, and district meetings focused on overarching strategies to address attendance district-wide, such as additional training for our attendance clerks. Second, we want to reduce our overall discipline referrals by 5% district-wide through our daily behavior huddles with the elementary principals, which focus on consistent behavior strategies and collaboration, behavior coaching for our new staff, and a revision of this goal to remove attendance referrals from the behavior data. Third, we want to increase our student achievement scores, and you can see those specific goals listed there as they are different by each grade level. We will do that by adopting new English language arts resources, creating a district literacy team, continuing our work with our essential standards and response to intervention, hiring a director of Indian education and school improvement, and creating an achievement gaps task force once that person has been hired. Our 3 staff goals include reducing our vacancy rate from 7% to 6%, reducing our turnover rate from 18.93% to 17%, and improving our employee experience. We will do that by creating a recruitment and retention committee or task force, planning a staff health and wellness event, working with local banks and businesses to secure additional benefits for our staff, and making regular appearances on the KOTA morning show, which we have already started and had a strong focus on recruiting of staff. Our 3 community goals include increasing scores on our parent and employee experience surveys and increasing our number of community partners by reactivating our career and technical education advisory committees. There's a lot of overlap between this goal and our communication goal, which also aims to increase our parent and employee experience survey scores by using multiple methods to distribute our district newsletter, creating a board meeting highlights page on our website, evaluating alternative software platforms for communication with our families, distributing an annual report to the community, and working with an outside consulting firm on a positive PR campaign. And then last but not least, our facilities goal is to increase our facility performance impact score by 1.5% by finishing our 2025-2026 projects and identifying our new projects for 26-27. We also have plans to develop a project dashboard to help communicate our progress to the community. And once the legislation session is over and we know whether there have been major changes to school funding, the board will take official action to determine whether we are in fact pursuing a bond referendum to assist with our many facility needs. The bond referendum would seek funding to address facility issues across the district, including safety and security issues, such as lack of safe and secure entrances in many of our buildings, a lack of air conditioning and other HVAC issues across the district, and overcrowding in some schools, particularly on the east side of the community. To be clear, we're already working on addressing these issues slowly. I can't stretch that out enough, slowly, as funding allows. But these issues are reaching a critical level where we simply can't continue to put them off until money becomes available. We need to actively seek the support of our community in order to improve the schools and assist the students that we serve. I have outlined these goals as well as the short-term action steps and the metrics we would use to evaluate them on the one-page handout that I provided to you. My plan is to distribute that to community members and have Bobby add it to our website. But before doing all of that, I just want to ask you a couple of questions. Does this accurately reflect the work that we completed in our study session? Did I miss anything? And are you comfortable with this communication plan?
One question I had is the communication community. That accessibility score, is that from a community survey or was the accessibility score from the director level? The increase,
It is from a
Accessibility.
survey. Bobby, do you know which one it's on?
Great. I believe that's the DSS survey, which is the GeoPL
right, so that might not be the accurate
Placement of that.
for community communication. Although the action steps are the action report or the annual report and work with.
Yeah.
Can you rephrase your question? I don't think that's the right spot.
Okay,
So then we need to look at what that
how we
goal
would,
needs to be in that spot.
and I do think we had, I mean, there was some discussion of what that could be and not a strong conclusion as to what that
That might
could be.
Okay.
I just have some questions. Mostly I think, yes, this does reflect what we talked about. That's my initial impression. With the in-house presentations from district experts as a short action step in the next 45 days, and that's to increase the score on the parent survey. Is that, so like we will host, RCAS staff will host presentations for parents to attend?
So the plan is, what we discussed at the study session was to have, like recordings, so having like, recording that we can get out to the public. So all community members could watch it and then also parents and then highlighting newsletters, or I'm even rolling in with that, the morning show. It's not all about recruitment. We're having the student nutrition go on next Monday to talk about student nutrition and all of that good stuff. So yeah, our in-house experts.
Okay.
Be on the website.
And then I just wanted to clarify, Dr. Strasser, the daily behavior huddles with the principals. I thought I understood that was happening for 2 more weeks. Is that continuing? Am I wrong? Is it continuing for the rest of the year?
It is continuing,
Okay.
yes. So we're taking a short break in between our improvement cycles this week, but we'll start again on Monday.
Okay, thanks. Those are all the questions I had. I don't see anything that.
Ms. Urban?
I think this is reflective of what we talked about, but the only thing I would say is, like the surveys, like numbers and things, I don't know if there's like an explanation, but like that just doesn't, I don't think always mean a lot to people. I mean, maybe we know a little bit more because we're steeped in it, but like 4.06, what does that mean? 4.06. Like, I think people think in terms of this percentage or that percentage. I just think it could maybe be explained a little bit better.
Okay. Don't think we could do percentages, but We could do like on a scale of 1 to 5.
Is that what it
say
means?
The 1 to 5 is.
That's, yeah, I mean, I think just explaining that.
And if I can jump in, it's typically the average of 4s and 5s received in that area. So on a scale of 1 to 5, so looking at how many, the average of being rated a 4 or a 5. That's how we look at it. But yes, that could be drilled down more.
Yeah, I think that's all you need is just this based on a scale of 1 to 5, this is the score and I just didn't know that. Maybe that's really stupid of me. I'm just bringing it up.
No, I
because-
agree.
I also think that this doesn't necessarily have to be a number that the public understands, like this is internal for our.
Well, yeah, because I would share it in my presentation
And here at the
and put
survey
it on the
results.
website, so it's both.
Right, but when you're presenting, you're gonna say like it was 0 to 5
Yeah.
and this was the average.
But I think this is community facing.
Correct.
This is.
Mhm.
Oh, so maybe adding on a scale of 4 to
Yep.
5,
Yep.
0 to 5.
Yep, we'll do that.
Ms. Clapham.
Following up on that, just a thought, because I think a lot of times people are visual, another just idea, toss it in the fire if you want to. But talking about visual, like if there is a scale and you're like, here's the current score and this is our goal, like literally just a visual, like it's at 4.06, the goal is over here at like, that seems very visual and easy to me. So if you say increase the survey score and you have like a little picture, that might be very easy visually. The other thing, just, and I think this is like, just as it's being combined, so it says, for other things, we have very specific, and then on the employee experience, we just have increased survey score. I think we probably have a number that goes there, but it's not here. So just when that, like, as we make it forward facing, because it's like above that, it's 4.06 to 4.1, and the others are 3.4 to 3.6, and other ones have numbers in specific one we've referenced, but we don't have an actual reference there on the employee survey.
Where are you?
So if you look on the where in community and we have employee experience and it says increased survey score for Q14, but it doesn't say like what the baseline for that is.
Gotcha.
So it just doesn't give us a clear, like I said, I think it's just an anomaly.
Yep, gotcha.
But yes, I agree. It says what we want it to. I think it's very fine tuning things.
All right, any other board member have questions or comments for Dr. Thompson?
That is all I have.
All right, thank you very much. Again, another good report. This time we'll have a report from, never know what to call you, business manager, finance manager. Superhero,
Seafood.
don't eat pizza person. I don't know what the, but anyway, Mr. Sassy, you.
President Carr, I've been called much worse than all those, so I would gladly take any of those. Board, I had prepared some comments regarding the student nutrition negative balance situation, anticipating that could be a topic of conversation. If you'd like me to, I can certainly walk you through that information. I do think it's valuable. I think it's good information to have out there. 1 second here. Rearrange everything. So I think first and foremost, obviously there's been a response in the community regarding the situation. I would say one of the first pieces of context that I would add from my role in this district is that this is certainly not a new conversation. I've been with the district 7 years. We've had this same conversation many times throughout that 7-year period, literally every year. And so sometimes I think both from the perspective of sitting in an administrative role and looking at these situations, and from the perspective of trying to understand someone sitting outside, a stakeholder sitting outside of the organization and looking at this situation, that it can be challenging to understand how much information is necessary, when that information is needing to move, and that can be challenging. And so part of bringing this back tonight is obviously trying to respond to some of the feedback and comments that we've heard over this week and a half or so period since we rolled this out. So starting with that in mind, of course, you all have heard a lot of this information, but again, I think it's always good to have a refresher. There's a lot of context that goes into this situation and trying to really define what we have happening here. And I think the basic challenge becomes when student meals go unpaid, the program incurs expenses without receiving any revenue. And obviously, that is not a good formula. That threatens the financial stability of the program and makes it difficult to operate. Per South Dakota law and generally accepted governmental accounting practices, student nutrition operates as what is called an enterprise fund. And really all that means is that it's supposed to operate like a business. The revenue generated from the function of the program is supposed to support its expenses. And it's a self-sustaining model, meaning it's not to rely on any other parts or areas of the organization. So it really is a self-sustaining model. And obviously when these situations play out, that puts that model under extreme strain. Again, this has been a recurring situation. And we've talked a lot about the sustainability of the situation. Over the last 3 to 4 years, our annual debt accumulation has been between the $175,000 and $200,000 range. And that's been a consistent figure. That situation seemed to be exacerbated by COVID, probably in large part because during that time period, the USDA extended free meals to all students across the nation. And I think there was some confusion after we came off of that regarding that situation. And so it's been steadily growing post-COVID. That amount of debt represents about 35% of the total program revenue of student nutrition. So it is a significant amount of revenue, again, that program is not receiving after those expenses have gone out. Again, obviously this directly impacts the financial stability of the program and in the operations of the program. So as we think about some of the operational impacts, there's a few different areas that I want to highlight that this has a major impact. The first being meal quality and variety. This is absent of this conversation, certainly the highest category of feedback that we get in the student nutrition area, that we want to see improved meal quality and improved variety. And those things are very difficult to do. Again, when we have 3 to 4% of our revenue on a yearly basis that is missing due to unpaid debt. So it really impacts the program's ability to increase quality when there's a significant amount of revenue missing. It also puts a lot of pressure on the pricing model. So obviously our strategy and most district strategy around the nation in terms of operating that program is trying to keep pricing low. We want meals accessible. We want for those folks that are paying the paid portion, them to feel like they're getting the quality and the trade-off that they need out of that program. Again, accumulating debt really forces us to make difficult decisions about increasing those meal prices for the paid families. And this becomes a very circular problem, right? Because we are increasing the meal prices to try to make up for revenue that we're missing, making meals more expensive, which then makes it more difficult to access. So we have this very circular problem happening there, where essentially we're chasing our tail in a lot of that situation. And then lastly, employee compensation. So again, it's a self-sustaining program, a self-contained program that puts a strain on its ability to compensate its workers, recruit and retain and make certain that we're able to execute that function in a efficient and effective way. At the end of all that, we have really limited options available with how we deal with this problem. We have a lot of restrictions due to the presence of federal funds through the free and reduced program. The student nutrition program cannot directly pay its own debt. So even if it had the money available, student nutrition could not say, we're going to wipe this debt clean and essentially start over. Obviously, it does not have the money available to do that. It's been continually struggling on a yearly basis to ensure that all the needs are met. But even if that was possible, it's not allowable under the laws and guidelines of the USDA program. So we have really three options that we can look at, or a combination of options. We can allow the debt to accumulate and just sit on the books, which has a bunch of issues in and of itself. We can supplement the student nutrition program with general fund revenue. However, that has impact obviously on the general fund, and the money's meant for other educational priorities. And we've heard, we've discussed the situation that the general fund is in, and it really doesn't have the ability at this point to supplement that fund. Or we find alternative financial solutions. So to me, that would really represent what we've been doing, which is honestly trying to piece together through donations, through other support areas, the ability to just hold the debt down as much as we can and start over every single year. I want to talk a little bit about community support. I don't think we can overstate how incredibly supportive the community has been over the last several years in helping us to address this problem. Through various partnerships, individuals, businesses around town, organizations, we've received literally hundreds of thousands of dollars of donations over the last several years. And again, I don't think we can overstate how deeply appreciative we are of that generosity. It is quite literally at this point one of the few threads that have held that program above water. However, I think what I need to make incredibly clear is relying solely on that process is not a sustainable long-term solution to this challenge. And we've proven that over the last several years. We will go through these situations. We will have awareness brought to the issue. We'll have a tremendous amount of support from the community. But what we see is that balance continues to accumulate and accumulate. And we've talked about this in the past. The meter is always running, meaning that there isn't a day that goes by that the district doesn't accumulate negative balance debt. And that is typically approximately in the $2,000 per day range. And so if you think of it as like your energy meter outside your house, it is constantly turning. And so without sustainable ongoing partnerships that are continually bringing revenue in, the problem, even though we control it and even though we pay it down, comes right back. And that is constantly building. The current negative balance as of last Friday stood at $136,000. And that was after applying $51,000 in revenue, meaning money that we've collected outside of normal revenue, and donations since the message went out on January 21st. So we've seen a significant amount of activity since that message went out on January 21st. Been able to apply $51,000 to that debt, which brought it down into the 136 range. So it was hovering around that $190,000 range. Sorry, I can't see the end of that slide. Here's how the current debt breakdown looks. So the significant portion of the pie here, and I do want to state, I think this is a really misunderstood piece of context of this issue. Large piece of pie here, 113,000, comes from 916 paid students. So these are families, guardians who either do not qualify for free and reduced or have not gone through the process of filling out a free and reduced application. So that's about 81% of that total debt belongs to that category. 20,000 comes from 296 students that are currently qualifying for free meals. So most likely scenario is at some point in the past, these students were not qualifying for free meals, accumulated debt, filled out the free and reduced application, qualified, and are now on free meals. And then about $6,600 from 59 reduced qualifying students. So about 5% coming from reduced. So again, I think one of the more misunderstood aspects of this situation is the most significant amount of debt is coming from this paid category, 81% of debt coming from that paid category. One piece of, I think, really positive information I want to share, and this is developed over the last several days, is that the district will use all recent donations to clear all free and reduced meal debt. So we can say that no parent or guardian of a student qualifying for free or reduced meals would be referred to collections in this process. So that $27,000 worth of debt will be cleared off the books using the recent donations. None of those folks will be included in this category, which is great. I think that's a really positive thing. Just want to quickly touch on management strategy and really emphasize the idea that this was not a first response. This was really more of a final measure that we took after extensive communication and support efforts that really failed to resolve the outstanding balances in this situation. We've been talking more specifically about this situation, the strategies that the district was going to use in terms of managing this problem for about 2 years. We started, Student Nutrition started significant outreach back in November of 2024. That began with letters, phone calls, emails, text messages to families regarding negative balance information. There's been ongoing communication since that point, including daily messaging now when accounts went negative, with clear information about support options, about payment options. Part of the reason I know this is because my kids eat school lunch every day, and I will occasionally get the pop-up that says, hey, you've gone negative. And so you jump in and fill it. And so that communication has been robust since that November 2024 timeframe. One of the things that the Student Nutrition Office has really emphasized in that communication is imploring families, guardians to reach out to the Student Nutrition Office and discuss the options with them. The assistance with payment plans, helping with the donated funds, and again, helping with free and reduced meal applications. I know for a fact, because I've seen it happen, that they've invited folks in when they've had questions, set them down, walk them through the free and reduced application process. I've seen that work with my own eyes. And again, this was really the final step in terms of how do we continue to address this issue, understanding that what we're currently doing is not sustainable and that we need to change course as we move into the future. Also, just very quickly wanted to touch on free and reduced meal income limits. Again, I think this is sometimes misunderstood from families, perhaps believing that I'm employed, I make money, that I won't qualify. So very quickly wanted to point out, these are the USDA income eligibility guidelines. I think many families are unaware that they might qualify for free and reduced price meals. Thresholds are often more inclusive than I think a lot of families believe they are. Obviously, eligibility varies by household size. Both free and reduced options are available. Application process is completely confidential, fairly straightforward. There is a lot of information requested, but typically things that most folks would know right off the top of their head. And again, want to stress the idea that student nutrition is here to help families navigate that process. And please reach out to the student nutrition office if you have questions. If you'd like to walk through the process, we always encourage, if you feel like you're even close to the income limits, please apply. And student nutrition will do the best to work you through that. So just to give everyone an idea, for example, a household size of 3, the annual limits to qualify for free, 34,000, for reduced 49,000. Again, for example, if you move up to a household size of 5, the annual limit for free is 48,945 and reduced is 69,653. So again, we always encourage folks, if you have questions or if you think you're close, please come in. They're happy to walk you through the process and help fill out an application.
Coy, are there
Yes.
any automatic qualifications? Like
Yes.
grandparents raising kids or?
Yes, there are several automatic qualifications. Being TANF eligible is an automatic qualification. There are 2 other qualifications, and I'm going to forget off the top of my head exactly what those are, but yes, there are some automatic qualifications. Foster care, yes, automatic qualification. SNAP benefits, automatic qualification. So yes, there are several programs that will automatically qualify families for free. Good question. Lastly, just wanted to touch a bit on how we're moving forward. And again, we view this as moving forward together. Again, this is a last resort, not a first response. The commitment of the program remains focused on supporting students and families while ensuring program sustainability. That's really where the point of management and focus lies. We will continue to work with community partnerships, working with local partners, and the focus really needs to change from, again, and this is not in any way downplaying the role that the community has played, but focus on long-term sustainable type relationships, as opposed to, again, attention is drawn to the situation, a lot of money is given, and then the balance continues to accumulate. And so I think part of my challenge in the challenge of the district is going to be trying to work with local partners to establish ongoing sustainable support systems that we can rely on over time in addressing this situation. Of course, legislative solutions are going to play a big part. We're actively pursuing policy changes, much like HB 1082, which is currently working its way through the legislative process, passed into appropriations, and I believe is being heard soon in appropriations. And so we in the board have publicly supported that bill, testified on behalf of that bill, and those are the type of solutions that we need to continue to pursue to help address this type of situation. And then lastly, of course, process refinement. I think we are going to continuously, improve our internal processes to better serve families and to try to do everything we can to prevent debt accumulation. How do we become better with communication, better with alerts to families, better at removing barriers to payment, better at all those things? And so that continual improvement process will be present in this situation as well. But again, I think at the end of the day, we remain committed. The board remains committed to ensuring every student has access to nutritious meals while maintaining a financially stable program. And that is the end of that. Happy to address any questions that the board might have.
Ms. Stephenson?
Thanks, Corey, for this
Mhm.
presentation.
bet.
In terms of process refinement, I know you've told me this before, but our payment system is operated through Skyward through the state? Is that, or how do we manage the payment system?
So part of the challenge is trying to match systems together and ensure that they do what we want them to do and they work with each other and they talk to each other. So right now we have multiple systems that are integrating. And part of the challenge over time has been, again, trying to remove obstacles of, I have to click here, I get rerouted, I have to fill out another area of information. Okay, now I'm logged in, now I can process a payment, now it takes me over here. And so that is certainly part of trying to refine the process and get better. However, sometimes we're limited by what systems can do and how they can talk to each other. And this has been a challenging situation. I do think we've made a lot of progress in terms of making that process more streamlined and more efficient. But that will be something we continue to look at in the future is how do we integrate those systems and make them more efficient and user-friendly through that process.
I think couple things that I've noticed is Starbucks never lets me go into debt. Every time I get close, they auto reload my card. And I'd love that option because every time I get low on my kid's account balance, I have to remember how to do it. Like it's kind of a pain. My kids don't eat lunch that often, so it doesn't happen that often. So I have to teach myself again and again. And then I get a notice and I'm behind. So I love the auto reload idea. And then the other one is when those emails come out that say you're behind, it would be great if we could build a little calculator that says, find out if you qualify for free or reduced lunch. You don't have to fill out the paperwork, just like find it out. And if it says yes, then, but
it's a great time.
Anything that gets more of our families to identify as qualifying for free or reduced lunch helps this district. And certainly you owe us $15, but hey, maybe you wouldn't if you filled the, explore that option. Those are just two suggestions I have.
Great suggestions. I know you and I in particular have discussed the idea of that automatic reload, and I think it's a great idea. Right now we're limited by what that system will allow us to do, but I think that is an idea that has a lot of benefit and that a lot of families would opt into, just like they do with Starbucks, where hey, it automatically puts $50 back on my account or whatever the case may be. So I really think those ideas carry merit, and certainly those are the type of out-of-box thinking solutions that we need to explore as we move into the future. And again, try to make the process better for anyone. I think, being transparent and honest, every single one of us involved in this situation would love to not be having this conversation. This is a last resort. It's a difficult situation. And so anything that we can do to be better and help families address the issue is where we want to be headed. So I really appreciate the suggestions, and certainly those are things that we'll look to incorporate.
Ms. Rafferty?
So I understand at the elementary level, kids are given a tray and they're given food. At the middle school or high school level, how does that work? Can a child spend like $10 a day, or is there a set amount of what they can spend a day? Because I've heard of parents coming, parents telling me that their child is spending like $8 to $10 a day on their lunches, and they get their bill and it's wow,
Yes, great point. Thank you for bringing that up, Angela. So one of the suggestions and areas that we've discussed at different times has been limiting. So typically that comes through the a la carte options, which are available at the middle and high school level. So we've talked about the idea of potentially limiting the à la carte options, or back to Christine's suggestion, if the system can do this, that a parent could say, okay, I don't want à la carte over $5 per day or $3 per, whatever the case may be. And so again, I think that would be an area we could look at, if we can have the ability through the system to limit that or have it turn off at a certain point, or some range of options in there that we could help address that. Great point.
Ms. Clapham.
Anecdotal, it's not the best solution, but having a middle school child, and this is a little bit circular, but if they are at exactly like the amount, or if they are negative, you can't do à la carte. So I actually know parents who literally put it in every day so that they can't, like, they just go and go, yep, it's gonna be exactly 375 or whatever, and it can't, like, you can't, when you can't go into the negative. I do believe there actually is a way in Skyward to do it, because I had another parent tell me you can. I haven't tried, but I think there is a way.
Yeah.
I said, I just haven't navigated it. And I just want to, one, Coy, thank you so much. I know this has been stressful and challenging, and I appreciate the time you put into this. I would put in a plug to find somewhere on the website or somewhere to put this with a big flashing sign on it.
Yep.
So that others can see it, because of course we're hearing this in this room, and it's great information. And I think the community, when I have conversations and give a lot of information, there's a lot of light bulbs that go on and go, oh, now I kind of get it.
Sure.
And just three other little pieces, because there were, and just know we discussed this and you guys saw the leadership notes, a couple things. One, that I think community should know, these accounts would not affect credit scores, because I know that was one thing that kind of frustrated people, and it's, well, people who are already struggling and now we're putting, so it does not, that the company that does this, these are considered small claims that don't affect credit scores, so that's important to know. And that two, you know, I think Ms. Stephenson's done a great job always saying, like, we have to make hard choices, and for the community to know, when we're having to figure out how to cover the debt for the nutrition program, and we have people saying, we need help with behavior, we need behavior specialists, that $200,000 that could go to a salary for a behavior specialist, now we don't have it because it has to go to the lunch shed. So those are the kinds of things, like, we want to do the best for our kids, and obviously feeding kids is important, yes. But when we know that 80% of this is hate families, like, that's taking away for something else this district could do. And so I think sometimes we've kind of gotten painted as the bad guy, like, here we go. So, but actually, we just want to do the best for kids. And with having this debt, it hamstrings us and other things that we cannot do in our budget. So I just wanted to make that known, and that, and I will not name any districts, but there are districts in the state who actually stop feeding kids. Like, their policy says, end of sentence, when they get to a certain point, and it's different dollar amounts in different districts, but Coy did some great research, and there are districts who stop feeding kids, and this is a district, we're not gonna do that. And so we care about these kids, we want fed kids, and we're trying all the ways to make it workable for everybody. So just some good information to add to that.
Very
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Swan.
Just a question and then a statement afterwards. Coy, you mentioned sitting on this debt. Does that give us at a higher risk with, say, the state? And we end up on, cause having had work with federal agencies, you don't get your reports in on
Yeah.
time, you don't do these things, is it, then they start to put you in a risk category.
Absolutely.
So is this part of that we're trying to reduce our
Certainly.
risk level?
Yeah, you are absolutely right. Well, you nailed it. I think a lot of times this is some of the impact that a lot of folks don't care about except me. But when you think about credit ratings and the district's ability to issue capital outlay certificates that we're getting a high rating for, low interest rates, all those things, all of that is affected by how we manage ourselves financially. And so, for example, at the end of the year, we have to report this debt as a liability to the program because it's an outstanding unpaid amount, which has a direct impact as auditors are looking at it, as as lending agencies are looking at it, the state, the federal programs portion of that, all those different entities are looking at that information. And so as that balance accumulates, they have to make a judgment about the district's ability to effectively address that, and it impacts all those areas. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I guess two other statements.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that, one of the things we were kind of at the mercy of an email campaign, a lot of interest from out of state people that were interested in our students. Like to thank everyone for their interest in South Dakota lunch program here in Rapid City. But some of the things that, you know, there are remedies, you know, and having worked in Tennessee and having worked in North Carolina, some of their remedies are is you're carrying the student debt. Even in Florida, man, I was $8 over, I think. And my son was graduating and he told me he wasn't gonna get his diploma until I paid that $8 debt. And I was like, wow, that's for real, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right. There are remedies, you know, there are other remedies available, but I think one of the best things that, you know, parents can do, being a grandparent of a 6-year-old who eats at school, one of the best things we can do for our kids is sometimes just buying a lunch. Yeah. You know, kids get hangry. I mean, I get hangry, you know what I mean? But these are one of the things, if you know, it is an integral part of the student day, of the learning process. So I would just encourage, you know, parents to get caught up. Just doing a little bit of numbers. It looks like the full price is like at about 123 per student. The free lunch is free lunch that I had trouble wrapping my arms around it at first, but that's at about $67 per student.
Yeah.
And then the reduced lunch looks like it's about at 111 per student. So, you know, if you break it down like that, I mean, it's one of those things over the course of a year, that's significance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to
No,
kind of say
that's
a
great.
couple of those things, but
Yeah.
a lot of interest from the Native community, a lot of phone calls, a lot of talk, you know, about this, about going after student debt, you know, and a lot of Natives are in that category if they probably not gonna be able to pay, and it's so that was the feelings that were conveyed to me.
Sure.
So I just wanted to pass those along. Thank you.
Thanks, Walt. Great
Is there-
comments.
Wait, we have 6 CEP schools, is that correct?
Yes.
Didn't we have like 10? Has that just changed over the years because our demographics have changed, or what happened for us to lose status at those
Yeah.
other schools?
Certainly, I think shifts in the community have a major impact on that. There's a lot of socioeconomic data that flows into that CEP process. There's also some really interesting aspects of how that CEP label is managed. So for example, and I may butcher this a bit, but you can, as a district, spread CEP. If you have a certain level of free and reduced qualification, you could take your CEP designations and spread them across a district, similar to, for example, like a Title I allocation. Well, you would be very familiar with this, and you can take that and you can spread it based on that socioeconomic information. What the district found is that, for example, Central High School a few years ago was identified as a CEP school because of the significant amount of resources that Central demanded from that program. It really hindered the ability to then spread that across other lower socioeconomic parts of our community that also qualified for CEP. And so there's some tricky aspects to that. We are actually in the process right now of renewing the CEP. So the student nutrition program pulls a lot of data together about the community and income levels and all those things. And the idea is always, of course, first and foremost to spread that CEP in a way that helps us address the highest need areas of our community and identify those schools where we're reaching and helping the highest portion of our families. And so it's a bit of a tricky process. But I think that the district has done a really good job over the last several years of making that CEP designation meaningful and really addressing the highest need areas of the community.
Okay, I mean, it just seems like, of course, there's not less need today than there was
Yeah.
5 years ago. So it was confusing to me how we lost that at some of our schools. But it sounds very complex.
Yeah, and I can
Um,
certainly get additional background on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever we can do to spread that out or perhaps qualify
Sure,
more schools would be helpful.
I'll get some
Um,
additional info on it.
Okay. I think that, I mean, I personally would love to feed all kids. I think we require them to be in our schools. It makes a lot of sense to do that. But we live in a state that just does not fund education to that level, unfortunately. And we need a citizenry that will demand that if we want to feed all kids. Otherwise, we're gonna have to pick and choose, and those are gonna be some pretty hard decisions. And I think, Jamie, you said so many great things, but I mean, at the end of the day, like, yes, feeding kids is super important, but we do have a significant number of our community and a significant number of those who are reflected in this debt that can pay. And so I think we need to do what we can to recoup those dollars so that we can make great meals for kids and keep our staffing high. And I guess I was gonna say too, I love the reload idea, and also like with medical bills now, they'll send out a text and it takes you directly to adding, paying off your bill. I think like I have to learn how to redo it every single time too. It's kind of a hassle. So that would be helpful. And you definitely can turn off the a la carte option. I think I actually just called because I was getting my kids were eating and spending more money on lunch than I was. So yes, that is an option.
Thank you, Katie. I think just very quick comment to put into context, when we talk about education funding as a whole and how that impacts all areas of what we deal with. The portion of paid meals through the district, outside of course, the free and reduced reimbursements, is about $3.5-ish million. And so if we thought about that in the context of what the state is doing now and the conversations that are happening in peer, in the inflationary increases to education, and the idea that we would need to somehow inject another $3 million into that program in order to pay all meals, which would be amazing. I think we can all agree. It just is unlikely to happen without, again, a legislative solution either from the state or the federal government. Great points.
All right. I want to give a shout out to Krista and the food service department and student nutrition. They have gotten the emails. They've heard the comments in the community. They have, heard what we all heard. And sometimes it can be discouraging when you're trying to do the best. If you know her enthusiasm, you know her dedication for what she does. I had a chance to, in 24, spend the time in all the kitchen and when I was growing up, we called them lunch ladies. I'm sure that's not what you want to call them now.
Nutrition service.
Nutrition service. Every one of them at every kitchen was so excited about the work that they were doing and the kids that they were feeding. And so I just want to give a shout out to them and encourage them to keep doing the good work, and we support you in what you're doing. So, all right. Thank you, Mr. Sassy.
Thank you, sir.
For your
Very, very quickly. Well, one other item
you
I
have
want to
more?
mention to the board. Just very quickly, I have a school board member packet for you all. I think, you all get asked in the community often about different questions about school board races, excuse me. Just quick update. Of course, we have areas 4 and 5 that that will be voted on in June, on June 2nd. The notice of vacancies have been published for your information in the Rapid City Journal, the Faith Independent, which is the official newspaper of Meade County Schools in Meade County, and the Black Hills Pioneer, which is the paper that we've traditionally advertised in when we had any area with Meade County. We will continue to publish any public notices with that process in all three of those papers. Yesterday was the first date for a candidate to sign the Declaration of Candidacy, and begins petition circulation. That will run through deadline for candidate to file March 24th at 5 p.m. So FYI, if you get any questions, I'll hand these out after the board meeting. This is a great packet. You all have seen this because you ran for the board. Lots of information. I think literally any question that someone could ask in terms of board candidacy is answered in this packet. So just wanted to quickly update the board on that. Thank you, President Carr.
Did you already have that, or did that come out of, that packet come out of our discussions from last election?
No, sir. That is a document that the district has put together historically and given out to folks. Yeah.
All right, any questions for Mr. Sassy and his report? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
We have no conflict of interest, so I will entertain a motion for the approval of proposed agreements and MOUs.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the proposed agreements and MOUs. Any discussion on any one of the agreements or MOUs? Mrs. Stephenson.
Yes, I just wanted to point out, I know a few of the people that are listed in these agreements personally, and there's really some great people represented in these agreements. And I'm really proud and thankful that those people are here at the district, but particularly to Mr. Fig, who is the social worker intern, and also to, I don't actually know him, but the University of Michigan administrative candidate. I just think it's such a great thing that we're gonna have access to these individuals who are motivated to improve their skills, and to use their skills at the district while they learn. So I'm really appreciative of that and just wanted to point it out.
Ms. Clapham.
I want to kind of in the same way to just say, I appreciate with the social work intern position, we've talked about how we struggle with counseling and social work. And so this is that flex it, think it outside the box. And I know Dr. Thompson, Dr. Strasser have been working really hard. Like, how can we do this? We have a position, it hasn't been filled. What can we do? So I just appreciate the flexible, out of the box thinking, when it's a challenging time in education, it's a challenging time to hire. And so I appreciate them trying something different to make it work.
Right. Any other comments? All right, all in favor of approving the proposed agreements and MOU signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Motion carries. Before we get to consent agenda, I don't know if everybody knows, but there are two ladies that are sitting behind Sheila, and you may be wondering why they're here. It's Kathy and Miss Becky. Kathy and Becky are in training right now with Sheila. In the case that Sheila is not available to run our board meetings, one of these two ladies will sit in her seat and do her job. So we can welcome them and thank them for, I don't know, did you volunteer or were voluntold? In between. They're not saying either way. Okay, but thank you ladies for sitting in and doing the training. All right. Is there any board member that would like to pull an item from our consent agenda?
Yes, I would. I would like to pull 13J.
Okay.
As in Jimmy John. Maybe I'm hungry. I don't know.
Okay. Juliet's being pulled. Any other item? All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda except for item J.
Motion.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed consent agenda outside J. All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed, please say no. That motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution granting authority to CFOO and superintendent to authorize legislative positions of the board.
Motion. Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve item Juliet. Any discussion?
Yeah, I pulled it only because I'm just a little bit uncomfortable with someone else speaking for me. I was voted to speak for the constituents of Area 1. And so I'm not comfortable with abdicating that responsibility to anyone else. And I don't know what bills might be coming through forward. I don't know if I would agree or disagree. So I'm just uncomfortable with that. I have the utmost respect for both of you, but I'm just not comfortable with that. So that's my thoughts.
Okay, hold on. Mrs. Stephenson.
Yeah, thanks, Donna, for sharing those thoughts. I appreciate them. As a member of the legislative committee, I'm gonna vote yes on this because there are definitely times we're meeting every week during the legislative session, and we are discussing all these bills, and there are just times where something comes up, they need to make a choice or make an action, and they don't have time to get in touch with the whole board. But I will tell you that there's a lot of discussion about every possibility, and I feel really confident that when those moments arise, at least we've discussed it at the legislative committee. And this isn't a binding thing for every single year. I'm going to authorize the superintendent and the CFOO. But at this moment for this year, I feel really confident that they will be able to advocate for the best interest of the district and something that the majority of the board, or at least the legislative committee, would approve of. But I do respect that you're not comfortable with it. I'm not trying to convince you to vote otherwise. I just wanted to explain my reasoning for voting yes.
Hey, Ms. Clapham.
I would say just brief and minimal fault. One of the things I think we have changed, and again, I have always said I respect that people need to vote their conscience, and I know that everyone has very valid reasons for why they vote, how they vote, but also that one of the things I appreciate about this year compared to last year is that we really streamlined, because there might be 300 bills out there, and last year we had, oh my gosh, there were times we had like
Just a
35
bulk.
bills, and it was just crazy. But we're not, I think we've all felt as a board administration, we are only focusing, like when you look at tonight's, there's an explanation, everyone, there's 4 or 5, because we're focusing on what's really, so I don't foresee that administration knows like our general broad stances. And so I don't foresee, honestly, really much coming out of left field, because today was the deadline to drop bills, first of all. So no new bills can appear after midnight tonight. But I do think that that's a positive change. And I think because of that, there's a very low likelihood for something that we haven't seen or to come out, because we're just really focused on very certain issues that are really directly impacting the district and not some of these fringe things. And I think that's a positive change that's happened since last year. And so, and again, I agree, at any point, any legislative bill that comes up and is on the agenda, like we all have the position and right to speak and say what we as an individual feel. And, we don't lose our right as a citizen or anything else sitting in the seat. But I do think that change is going to make a significant difference too, because I think honestly, and Dr. Strasser and Quaid say they were probably overwhelmed last legislative season because it was just a lot.
Hey, Mr. Sassy.
Just a few quick comments, and Donna, certainly completely respect your opinion and your position. I think to build a little bit off of what Christine discussed, what this gives Dr. Thompson and I the ability to do is really make an interim judgment on a position for a bill. Even if we give an opinion or a stance, support, oppose, that would still, unless it got killed in between the time that we gave that opinion and bringing it to the board, it would still come to the board for an official position. And we always make everyone aware that this is an unofficial position of the district. This is our feedback as professionals. I think the other piece of clarity is, and I don't want to speak for Dr. Thompson, I'm sure she would agree with me that certainly when we are sitting down and discussing and thinking about those, and if it is a fast moving situation where we need to provide some type of feedback or opinion on a bill, I'm not approaching it from a personal perspective of what does Coy Sassy believe is important or whatever. I'm approaching it from the perspective of my professional opinion, how it's going to impact the district financially, and of course, trying to act in the spirit of what I believe the board is, right? So I feel like we have a pretty good rapport, and for the most part, I think I understand what the board as a collective would support or not support. So anyway, just wanted to clarify again, totally respect your opinion and your thoughts.
All right, anything else? I'm not at my,
If we authorize this tonight, is it just for this year? Well, okay.
well, that's the concern I have, because the last statement says, first question, did we have this resolution last year? Yes. Okay, that's what I thought. But at the bottom, it says that this resolution shall remain in effect until amended or rescinded by the board. I would feel more comfortable if it was an annual resolution, because I know you two, but I don't know your replacement. So I would be comfortable with you. So I don't know how, is there a time limit that you all need this approved? I think we've learned that.
I'll say you can, I mean, I think it's, if I'm understanding, I'm sorry, I'm not raising my Zoom hand and I'm probably like way
No,
out.
I can't,
Robert's
I'm
Rules of Order.
reading the thing, so I.
So yeah, I think if you say that shall remain in effect until, and just say remove, amended or rescinded and say until, and then just put a date there. And then that's a definitive end at that point, which really, I mean, at the end of the legislative session, you no longer need it anyway. So you could say May 1st, which is after, you could say July 1st, but I think if you just put a date there, then it ends.
Okay.
And then it's clean.
My thought, we would just do it along with all the other resolutions at the annual board meeting. It would just be another resolution that we approved for the year, and that makes it cleaner. I guess, again, so we would have to make that change right now. We'd have to write the.
You could make a motion that amended it.
Okay.
Yes.
But that's what I want to make sure that I make the right motion to amend it, that this resolution shall remain in effect.
Yes.
Remain in effect
That makes
until
sense.
June 30th.
Because that's the end of this fiscal year, the annual meeting, I don't know the exact date, but it's always within the first 10 days of July.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to amend the current motion to adjust the last statement that this resolution shall remain in effect until June 30th, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to make the change that I just stated. Any discussion about that change? So we're voting on the change, not the whole, not the original motion.
And then how do we remember to get it on the annual meeting?
Well, who puts those resolutions for the? All right. Okay.
I agree. I think I think that it's a very wise idea to just have it at the annual meeting, because there are moments where there are legislative summer study sessions, there are, well, that's mainly what I'm thinking about, but they do come up, legislative events come up the year round, so.
Just to clarify one more time, so if we do authorize this tonight, and it comes back to the board. And if it's something that we don't agree, we will vote on it. Okay.
Okay, but it's already been sent to the lobbyists and they're already lobbying in favor of what you want to do, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
but at that moment, then we would stop them from going any further with that particular action. We would contact them and say, this is no longer.
But that
the
could be
direction
2
we
weeks.
Yep,
Sure.
it's possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think that there's also always the option of you saying, I, as a member of this board, don't support the position that my district has taken, you know, that nobody is gonna stifle you from saying that.
Yeah, and just to explain it, my experience from last year was with regard to one of the bills that I was in favor of and y'all were not in favor of it. So because of my experience, it's kind of making me hesitant for this because I was the only one that was in favor of a bill. So that's my reasoning.
Okay, all right, so all in favor of approving the motion to change the wording in this document signify by saying aye. Aye. Any noes, please say no. Okay, that motion carries. Now we're back to the original, well, no, let me get another motion to approve the, oh my
amendment.
lord, this long. Granting authority, CEO, superintendent authorized
As a-
as amended. Okay, so now it's a new motion. So I need a motion and a second. Okay?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded, and so back to the discussion. Huh?
It was one of us, just pick one. We said it at the
Walt
same time.
or-
It was me or Katie. We said it at the same time, so it doesn't matter. Okay.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the resolution itself? Okay, let's do a roll call vote, Sheila, on this, please.
Troy Carr,
Yes.
Jamie Clapham,
Yes.
Katie Urban,
Yes.
Donna Moore,
No.
Walt Swan,
Yes.
Angela Rafferty,
No.
Christine Stephenson,
Yes.
5-2.
Okay, motion carries. I'll entertain a motion to approve the Rapid City Area Schools legislative positions. Moved and seconded to approve the Rapid City Area Schools legislative position. Any discussion? Right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point out to the board that the wording down at the bottom, we, as a committee, struggled to say we would support any property tax bill because we don't know what's gonna happen. They could look a little bit different. It's hard to make a blanket statement about any one proposal. And so we decided, we asked Coy to come up with that kind of blanket statement as just a guiding principle. And I just wanted to point that out because that's a little different than what we've done in the past, but the property tax reform, the big worry would be that they would change the property tax reform in a way that we could stomach, you know, that we'd feel relatively good about, and then later change the funding formula as a result of the property tax reform in a way that we really don't feel good about. So it is it's a broader statement to say, please just make sure that public education is funded.
Any other discussion? All right, do I need to make note that we'll have one board member is absent for the vote or no?
I think it does need to be, well, Katie asked.
I mean, it'll pass, but the
The
number
numbers
will
yeah.
so there's only 6 of us voting. Okay, all right. All in favor, okay, we've had the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any no, please say no. Okay? I guess one absent, thank you. Motion carries. Okay, approval of proposed legislative committee actions. I need a motion and a second.
So it probably doesn't matter at all. It's just a little it already says the vote on
But
the,
aren't we approving you all to talk to?
right, but I'm saying on the, like, it probably doesn't matter, but it actually on the document we're saying
Yeah.
it says vote 7-0, as if it's already passed.
I saw that.
Okay. Then we don't need to amend it then, I suppose. I just noticed it.
Okay.
Okay,
So
then
we
I'm good.
Okay, so we still, did I get a motion in a second? Okay, I need a motion in a second to approve the proposed legislative committee action.
I'll motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing no hands or discussion, all in favor of approving the legislative committee action signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Motion carries. All right, items for board information. I would hope that you all read the 21st Century Discovery Program by South Middle School. And I think just for my clarification, what it was saying was that South Elementary already has the Discovery Program, so it is not going to be included with South Park and those other 3 or 4 schools. Right, I think the first paragraph says that. Let me pull it up. And my apologies for not, I knew I was going to ask about that.
They added those because they have a new program called the Club 5
Okay,
for a small number of fifth graders from the feeder schools.
yes.
And yes, South Park is not included because they have their own, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I thought I can. But they will the next year. No, or they won't be included at all because they have their separate. Okay, all right,
They have Discovery.
all right. Any questions about that? Okay, and you will see this again. So next board meeting, we will vote to approve this. All right, at this time, committee reports.
I would just say the legislative committee report is basically summed up in what we just voted on.
Okay.
There's, the other thing to report is that next Monday is public school day at Pier.
Oh, yeah.
There will be this was initiated by one of the school boards, East River.
Langford.
What?
Pretty sure it's Langford.
Langford. And I think they're gonna get a pretty good turnout and, I plan to be there. I know Sarah Hornick from the foundation plans to be there and hopefully a bunch of other pro-public school people from Rapid City, so.
Any other
You're
board
all
members
welcome.
going? Just,
Oh,
Jamie.
Jamie, be there.
Yeah, Jamie Clapham is going, I'm going, and then some of the student school board members
Wow,
are going.
okay.
There are a couple of principals taking personal days,
Yep.
actually.
To go.
to.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's gonna be a big day.
It is.
Okay. Any other committee reports?
Oh, yeah. I'm raising my
Finance
hand.
committee, but.
I'm raising my
boy-
hand
Oh,
on the Zoom.
oh.
I'm
Clap.
trying to follow the rules, Mr. President.
Let's clap him.
Quickly on community outreach, biggest thing, so we are going to have our listening sessions. We'll make sure they get added to your calendars. They're the last week of February for staff listening sessions. It'll be in person on Tuesday, the 24th, and via Zoom on the 26th. This is something we felt like we've gotten really good feedback about and that the staff really appreciates having that opportunity, particularly before negotiations. So those will be, yeah, which could be interesting this year depending on what the state gives us, but we'll see. And then that our Excellence of Education Night is coming up a week from today. And so anybody who can be there for the announcement of Teacher of the Year and Support Person of the Year, we love celebrating our staff. So that's another great
is that?
opportunity next Tuesday. So basically same, yeah,
Can you send me an invite? So
Yeah.
I'll remember.
it's on the list.
Okay, Thank you. Regina.
And then we discussed and we decided with everything going on legislative that we're going to do specific a legislative board corner, which thank you, Ms. Stephenson, for being willing to do that, to get out to families to see what's going on in the legislature and how they can advocate and be aware of what's going on affecting public schools. And that's about it for outreach, and policy is always just, you know, things, so there's not much there. And then, ASPSD, these things, so when you get the LAN, the Legislative Action Network emails, because several of us are on that, they usually are very timely, like when one came out on Sunday, this is going to the floor, like, so really try to pay attention to those, because it really could make a difference, and they try to really highlight the bills that could really make an impact on education, so just keep your eyes out on those, and then that quarterly board meeting will be on the 16th. It's actually going to be via Zoom, so I will be attending via Zoom. Last year, so many of us got stuck because of winter weather. They decided it was a bad idea. They were going to try it again this year, so we're just going to meet via Zoom on February 16th, and then actually the spring meeting will be West River in Deadwood on April 24th.
All right, any other committee reports? Moving on to others. Anybody have any others?
I do, but I can't get to my hand. Yeah, okay.
I do, on behalf of Walt. You want to announce that? I plan on being there.
Yes, thank you, President Carr. Friends of the Children, we've moved facilities. We've moved a little bit closer to our target population onto the north side. So we're inviting everyone to our open house on the 16th, and we're kind of making it friendly for people who are working and will be available during the day. So I believe it's from 2 to 6. We'll be hosting, we'll be having wasna and tea, as well as we will be having cookies and I don't know, juice, I guess, for the kids, but we've invited, all of our caregivers. As you know, Friends of the Children is a K-12. It is actually, we take kids from 4 to 6 years old and we mentor them all the way to high school. We make sure that we choose the kids that are most at promise and that really would like a mentor, focusing on our DSS as well as our foster kids to make sure. Our founder, Duncan Campbell, out of Portland, Oregon, was a foster child himself, and he always is viewed that no child should ever have to grow up like he did. Thus the program Friends of the Children. Thank you, President Carr.
Ms. Clapham, do you have anything else? Ms. Stephenson?
Yes, I put my
you
I
did
put my pen back up. I
back
actually
up.
lowered it.
All right, Ms. Clapham.
Quick things, I just wanted to say thank you to some students at Stevens High School who several of us went to talk to and just ask about their experience and to learn and get feedback from them and talk about what a board does. So thank you to those students. And thank you to Miss Cannon at South Park for inviting us to help with the Groundhog Day hats and to see junior kindergarten in its full effect. It was a lot of fun and a great group to work with. So I love being invited and seeing how our programs are working in real time. And also just to say, and in context, I would say, I think the lunch deck conversation and even an experience of my own, parents, families, communities, this is important in the world in general, and specifically for us in the school district. I would encourage people to take pause and always know there are more perspectives and parts to a story. Because it's the one line of what happened with the school lunches, and there was a whole lot more backstory to that, but there was a lot of outcry based on the one line. In the same way, my son came home with an issue at school and he told me that this and the bathroom is closed. That wasn't the whole story. Seventh graders bring home about 2 ounces of what the whole pound story is. And so just keeping in mind, parents, community, there's always a lot wrapped up in a story that you likely don't know, and to keep in mind before we have extreme reactions in either way, to maybe dig a little bit more into the whole picture.
All right, Ms. Stephenson.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out, is the RCAS January news that was emailed, is that the inaugural newsletter? No. No? Oh, okay. Is that the one that's going to the whole community, or is that one? Okay. Awesome. Okay, well, I just really enjoyed the stories in it, so thanks. Appreciate that it went out.
All right, any other? Right, seeing none. I will entertain a motion to go into executive session, SDLCL -1 -25 -2.1, 2.3, and 2.4.
I don't believe we need 2.1. Sorry.
I think
Oh.
potentially we might.
Help me. Well, if we don't, then there won't be anything,
Okay.
but if something comes up, we will have that. You're correct, but just in case, we'll have it approved, okay? So I need the motion and the second.
So moved.
All right, it has been moved that we are going to in executive session. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. All right, motion carries. We are officially in executive session. We'll take a 5 minute